Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, American Comics. Opening sign in Accelerator 36. Chapter 36 Mystique and #039, S Assault. At the same time, Levi's and the others finally came to the lake below the Statue of Liberty Island. Cyclops slowly landed the fighter on the water. I have to say that this fighter is indeed very advanced. It can not only achieve optical stealth, but also amphibious, which is really convenient. Boom. However, it seems that the drop was too strong, causing the fighter to shake a little bit. Sorry. Cyclops was a little embarrassed. Technology sucks. Logan couldn't help complaining. After getting off the fighter plane, everyone came to the Statue of Liberty Island. Inside the statue is a huge amount of museum with various exhibition items. The strange thing is that there is no one guard here. It should be the reason for the holiday. The group entered the museum. However, when passing the detection level, the alarm is triggered. Levi's turned his head and saw that it was Logan. This triggered the security alarm because the body was full of adamantium. Seeing this, he couldn't help but tease, "Uncle Logan, it seems that you shouldn't be able to fly." Logan didn't say a word, just stretched out his wolf paw to grab the security alarm, and finally gave him a middle paw. "All right." Levi's shrugged and felt a little funny, but I didn't expect Logan to have this kind of humor. Enter the museum interior. "Be careful, the enemy may be nearby," Cyclops reminded behind him. "Don't worry, no one here can hurt me." Levi's smiled indifferently. "There are enemies here." Then Logan stepped in front of him, his nose twitching as if looking for something. "Hey, Logan, don't act on your own." Cyclops couldn't help but remind him again, but as soon as he finished speaking, Logan disappeared around the corner. Cyclops, Storm and the others looked at each other, feeling a little helpless. At this moment, the other side, Wolverine, came back. Levi looked at the Wolverine in front of him with interest. If he guessed correctly, the Wolverine in front of him should have been changed by Mystique. It looks completely indistinguishable from the real Wolverine, and the original can even conjure up the exact same claws as Wolverine, which is really amazing. "Looks like you didn't find anything." Cyclops couldn't help but tease him when he saw him returning empty-handed, taking revenge for being teased by Logan just now. Levi's watched Mystique approach, ready to subdue her. It was at this time. Suddenly another Wolverine rushed out on the other side. The two scuffled together in an instant. "Huh, what's going on?" Polaris was a little surprised when two Wolverines suddenly appeared. One of them should be from Mystique, one of Magneto's men. Levi's explained it for her. "Oh, so how do you tell two people now, which is the real one?" "I think whoever has harder claws is the real one," Levi's chuckled lightly, folding his arms. "Wolverine's claws are adamantium. Mystique may be able to imitate others, but this one certainly cannot." "It makes sense, so we just look at it like that." Even so, Cyclops has no intention of intervening. After a while, one of the Wolverines had been kicked several times in a row. In fact, from the way the two fought, you could tell who was real and who was fake, but the battle was too intense, so I didn't see it for a while. The battle between the two did not go to other places like the original, but to Levi's and the others. It was at this time. The two Wolverines suddenly stopped fighting and then grabbed Levi's at the same time. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. Then Storm couldn't help exclaiming, "What are you doing, Logan?" At this moment, a green light bloomed in the hands of Polaris beside him. One of the Wolverines stopped, while the other Wolverine kept stabbing Levi's. Boom! There was a crisp sound, and the claws of Wolverine shattered instantly when they caught him. Wolverine screamed in pain, then backed away. "What's the matter with you, Logan?" At this time, Cyclops and other talents reacted. "That one isn't Wolverine, this one here is." Polaris pointed to Wolverine, who was under her control. Storm and Cyclops and others also understood this. What can be controlled by Polaris is the real Wolverine, and what is not controlled is obviously Mystique. Looks like Uncle Logan is under control. Levi's was not surprised to see Logan, whose eyes were blank. Since he came to Liberty Island, he has used telepathy to scan the entire goddess statue. Compared with the original book, there seems to be one more person here. After speaking, he snapped his fingers, and Logan woke up immediately. What happened? Logan looked at himself flying in the sky with a confused expression. Polaris sees this and puts him down. Before Cyclops and the others could explain, Logan saw the person who was exactly like him just now, and then rushed up and scuffled together again. American Comics. Opening sign in Accelerator 37. Chapter 37 Playing with the White Queen. That's when the two Wolverines scuffled together again. Levi suddenly sensed a psychic force swept over. Is the target Cyclops? Apparently the other side also wants to control Cyclops to attack. But since he was discovered, he would definitely not let the other party succeed. Levi's powerful mental power was swept out, and instantly repulsed this strange mental power, and then found the source of the strange mental power. He looked up at the second floor of the museum, and saw a blonde woman who looked almost the same as the 5 Cuckoo sisters standing there. Polaris and Storm followed his gaze. White Queen. Storm exclaimed when he saw the blonde woman. Who is the White Queen? Polaris apparently hadn't heard of the White Queen name. That's one of the leaders of the Hellfire Club. Levi's explained it simply. He didn't expect the White Queen to be here, and the original book didn't have it. Was it invited by Magneto? I have to say that I underestimate you, especially you. The White Queen said. His last eyes were fixed on Levi's. She really couldn't believe that the mental power that was so powerful that she instantly retreated was actually used by the person in front of her. Why are you here, White Queen? When he said these words, Cyclops had already pressed his fingers beside his glasses, ready to attack. That's it, I won't let you go up. White Queen didn't explain the problem. It seems that if you want to save the little naughty, you have to pass the test. Levi's mouth was slightly raised, and then he said to Cyclops and the others behind him, you go up first, she will leave it to me to deal with. Cyclops and Storm nodded and walked towards the elevator. Weiss, I'm here to help you. Polaris didn't leave but wanted his help. No, forget it, just stay here. I'll deal with this guy soon and take you to Magneto. Levi said and came to the White Queen's side. When White Queen saw him suddenly disappearing and appearing beside her, she was shocked, and her whole body turned into a diamond state. The whole body is transformed into a diamond that can easily resist bullets, which is one of the super abilities of the White Queen. Diamond, I don't know if I can sell it for money. Levi's rubbed his chin and teased. The White Queen did not speak, but rushed over directly. Oh, want to fight in close quarters? Then I'll fight you. Levi's chuckled and stood still. Seeing this, White Queen had no intention of showing mercy. She had a lot of fighting experience, and the fist that turned into a diamond slammed into his face in an instant. Hey, don't you know whether to hit someone or not? Boom. Levi's had just finished speaking when the punch hit him in the nose. However, he didn't waver at all. On the contrary, the White Queen only felt a slight pain in his right fist. This surprised her very much, knowing that after she became a Diamond Man, there was no attack that could make her feel pain. Unexpectedly, she just punched the opponent, but made her fist ache faintly. What the hell is this ability? Well, can I not answer? Levi's shrugged. If it wasn't for his mercy, the White Queen's punch just now would probably shatter his own fist. You don't have to answer, but I will let you answer. The White Queen said coldly. After she finished speaking, she rushed up again to attack Levi's, using joint skills if she couldn't punch or kick. However, after some tossing, Levi's was fine, but White Queen himself was tired enough. Have you hit enough? If you hit enough, just grab it. Levi's didn't bother to mess with the White Queen anymore. As soon as he thought about it, he used molecular manipulation to create an iron chain out of thin air, and then used electromagnetic force to manipulate the chain to bind the White Queen. This momentary operation made White Queen's eyes widen. She couldn't believe that the man in front of her could create something out of thin air. This is simply too amazing. Lorna, let's go. Levi's ignored the White Queen, pulled Polaris and walked towards the upper level of the goddess statue. All the way to the upper floor. There are signs of fights here and there, and apparently Cyclops and the others have met their opponents. Probably Mystique and Toad, maybe Sabretooth. Among them, Toad impressed him the most. Don't look at Toad as a second-level mutant. Ability is nothing more than sticking its tongue out, but its combat effectiveness cannot be underestimated. Cyclops, Chin and Storm, who played in the original book, turned around in circles. And this ability says so. He has a bold idea. When Levi's and Polaris came to the top of the statue, they found that Cyclops and Storm, as well as Jean and Logan, were all bound by steel. You don't have to look to know who did it. Hey, how are you? Levi's walked over with a smile. As long as your eyes are normal, you can see that we are not good. Logan, with his hands tied to his chest, couldn't help but reply. Weiss, don't talk nonsense, just untie it for us. Storm said anxiously. I'll come. Polaris, who was on the side, waved his little hand, and the steel that bound them was instantly opened. American Comics. Opening sign in Accelerator 38. American Comics. Opening sign in Accelerator. Chapter 38 Rescue the Little Naughty, 1 Meeting Magneto. Magneto has already taken the Little Naughty up, we must rescue the Little Naughty as soon as possible. Storm said anxiously. Levi's nodded when he heard the words, well, Teacher Chin, you can take care of Cyclops here, let's go. Cyclops can't even open his eyes easily because of his special glasses, so he doesn't need to participate in the next battle. It would be best if Chin took care of him. Immediately afterwards, Levi's, Polaris, Storm, and Logan rushed towards the top of the goddess statue. Also around the corner, suddenly, a pair of claws stretched out and grabbed Levi's at the front. Levi's didn't even look, grabbed the opponent's arm and threw it at Logan beside him. Uncle Logan, this person will be handed over to you. However, Logan, who was caught off guard, was directly smashed to the ground by the person thrown by Levi's. I said I didn't mean to believe you. Levi's looked at Storm and Polaris with some embarrassment. Storm and Polaris shrugged in apparent disbelief. Logan originally planned to settle accounts with him, but after seeing that the person who threw it was his good brother Sabretooth, he immediately became jealous when the enemy met. The two soon scuffled together. At this moment, a cry for help came from above the goddess statue. Help, who will save me? It's a little naughty voice. Storm exclaimed. Is Magneto's machine about to start? Polaris frowned. It seems that I can't waste time. I'll go save the little naughty first. Be careful. Levi's finished speaking, and before they could react, a spatial movement disappeared in front of the two of them. Weiss. Polaris looked anxious as he suddenly disappeared. Let's follow along too. Storm looked up at the torch above the goddess, then walked towards the upper entrance. The other side, on the torch of the goddess. Is there anyone here to save me? At the moment facing the threat of life, the little naughty can only cry in tears. Hey, is there any reward for saving you? Levi's suddenly appeared in front of her and smiled. Weiss. Seeing Levi's suddenly appearing in front of him, little naughty was pleasantly surprised. Don't worry, I'll save you right now. Levi's said that before trying to pull the handcuffs off her arm. Stop. It was at this moment that Magneto came to the room on the torch. Originally, Magneto wanted to start the machine as soon as possible, but he didn't expect that there would be one more person here. However, Levi's won't act according to the script. You say stop and stop. I saw his finger lightly click on the test on his hand, and the entire metal handcuffs collapsed instantly when he used the atomic collapse. Immediately after, he wanted to release another handcuff. But he saw that Magneto controlled the iron piece on the side and smashed it towards him. Yeah, be careful. The little naughty couldn't help screaming when he saw the iron pieces smashed over Levi's back. Levi's looked helpless. He was not frightened by Magneto's sneak attack, but was shocked by the naughty high-decibel scream. Can you stop screaming? Levi's didn't pay any attention to the attack behind him. He rubbed his ear with one hand, and tapped the handcuff on the other hand of little naughty, and the handcuff instantly collapsed. At this time, Magneto's iron sheet also hit Levi's. In the face of this kind of physical attack, he has no interest in dodging at all, and directly uses the vector operation to change the direction of the force of the iron sheet, and the iron sheet is instantly reflected back. Magneto was shocked when he saw that the iron pieces bounced back at a faster speed. He put his hands in front of him, fully controlling the iron piece that was ejected back, and finally the iron piece stopped a few centimeters away from him. Looking at the iron pieces so close at hand, even Magneto couldn't help breaking out in a cold sweat. He almost died under the iron plate he controlled, which made him a little embarrassed. However, Magneto frowned when he saw Levi's, who easily took his attack unscathed and didn't even turn his head back. No one has been able to catch his attack so easily. Who is the person in front of him? When did Charles cultivate such a powerful mutant again? Now Magneto is not in a hurry. Anyway, the little naughty was rescued, but as long as the young man in front of him is solved, the plan can still continue. And here, after Levi's untied the handcuffs of the little Naughty's hands, because of maintaining a movement for a long time, the little Naughty immediately fell down. Seeing this, he hurriedly grabbed her to prevent her from falling to the ground. Are you all right? Levi's asked concerned. It's okay. It's not right. Little Naughty suddenly found that her hand was caught by him, and she hurriedly withdrew her hand. Levi's shrugged helplessly. Weiss, are you all right? Little Naughty realized that he didn't react at all after touching his skin. It's not like everyone else gets energy absorbing once they touch her skin. American Comics. Opening sign in Accelerator 39. Chapter 39 The Battle with Magneto. Me. Definitely okay. Levi's smiled. Not to mention that he also has the energy absorption ability. It is said that he will not be energy absorbing if he has vector operations, so the Naughty ability is completely useless to him. Is this true? The little Naughty covered his mouth in disbelief, his eyes full of surprise. After the mutant ability of awakening energy absorbing, she was a little desperate for a while. After all, this ability prevents her from contacting anyone. So it is impossible to have a complete family, and she is destined to die alone. However, now there is someone who can contact her without fear of her ability, and who is also the person she likes, and has saved her at the most dangerous time. In this case, the little Naughty only felt that she had found the Prince Charming she hit. Weeping with joy, she hugged Levi's. Ah, don't get excited, little Naughty, I'll take you back later, and now you stand aside. The little Naughty wiped his tears after hearing the words, and then stood to the side obediently, but his eyes were still fixed on him. Hey, Magneto's been waiting. Levi's turned to look at Magneto, who didn't continue to attack, and laughed. I want to know your name. Magneto looked at him with interest. My name is Levi's, I just joined X-Men, please advise. Levi's hearty self-introduction. Levi's, your ability is pretty good. It looks like Charles has found another capable child. Magneto has always been very fond and tolerant of mutant, and although Levi's has just sabotaged his plans, it's still too late. Weiss, do you know what mutant's situation is now? Those people. Magneto said that he pointed to the distance. Where is Manhattan Island? There are most of the human beings in this world who oppose mutants gathered there. They hate mutants and even plan to destroy all mutants. After a pause, Magneto said to Levi's with a heavy face, if we don't do something, I'm afraid mutant will be wiped out by humans sooner or later. Hearing these words, Levi's agrees very much. After all, in the future, humans have already figured out how to make mutant return to normal. And there are plans to exterminate mutants like the Sentry Plan. Human creativity is limitless. If the mutants don't do something, they may only be left to die. He really admired Magneto for this. Magneto's eyes lit up when he saw that he agreed with him. So Weiss, join me, let's create the future of mutant. Come, let me introduce you to the machine I invented. Just start this machine, then all the leaders of the countries can be turned into mutants, so that the countries will not continue to target mutants. Magneto excitedly explained his brilliant plan to Levi's. Levi's listened to him silently, and nodded involuntarily. I have to say, Magneto, your plan is very good. If it is true, then the conflict between mutant and humans will indeed be resolved. Magneto couldn't help but smile when he saw his agreement. Charles has never understood my plans, and I didn't expect the children he taught to win my heart. In that case, Weiss, you step aside first. Although this process may sacrifice your friends, it is worthwhile for mutants' future. Being able to let Magneto, who has always been very tolerant of mutant, say such words shows how persistent he is in his heart. Levi's, however, did not step aside. This made Magneto frown. Magneto, I do agree with you very much, but there is something wrong with your approach. What's the problem? Magneto was puzzled. The only problem with this plan is your machine. It's not perfect, remember Congressman Kelly? Magneto frowned. He's successfully turned into a mutant and escaped. Levi's nodded. Yes, he did succeed in becoming a mutant, but he ended up dying from a genetic breakdown. It's not possible. Maybe it's just that he's just not comfortable with being a mutant. Magneto didn't believe what he said. Maybe even if he did, he thought it was just a few genetic breakdowns. It would be acceptable if most people could become mutants. Magneto, after so many years of waiting, why don't you study this machine that can make people a mutant? As long as it can turn ordinary people into mutants without side effects, I'm sure Professor X will support you. Levi's he frowned and persuaded. I can't wait anymore, get out of the way. Magneto was impatient, and when he waved his hand, a few iron sheets flew out from the goddess statue, intending to tie him up. Yet Levi's didn't even look at the tin sheets. I saw that after the iron sheet touched his body, he was instantly ejected. What is your ability? Magneto frowned. Levi's crossed his arms and said, I call it reflection. No matter how strong your attack is, it will be reflected, so give it up, you can't hurt me. Magneto raised his eyebrows when he heard this, then waved with one hand. The next moment, countless iron sheets on the goddess statue flew up, forming a huge amount of iron balls in the air, and suddenly smashed towards him. American Comics. Opening sign in Accelerator 40. Chapter 40 Magneto and Polaris, father and daughter meeting. However, the greater the force that comes over, the greater the force that bounces back. When the iron ball hit him, the iron ball was instantly reflected and smashed towards Magneto. This time, Magneto, who was prepared, was not so embarrassed, and easily took the iron ball that was ejected. This time, however, Magneto felt a little tricky. Although the iron ball just now was just a test, it also proved that ordinary physical attacks really couldn't hurt Levi's. This surprised Magneto, but he didn't give up. I saw him wave his hand again, and countless iron sheets entered like a cage, trapping Levi's inside. Weiss. The little naughty who was not far behind shouted a little worriedly. However, there was no response. Can't get out now. Magneto smiled faintly. Levi's ability is indeed very powerful, and any physical attack is useless to him, but his weakness is also very obvious. Once trapped, it is difficult to break free. But just when he thought so, boom, I saw that the iron sheet that had trapped Levi's was blasted out directly. Magneto, you are too happy. Levi's sneered, and it was too whimsical that the iron sheet seemed to trap him. Magneto's expression darkened when he saw this, and he knew that if he didn't solve Levi's in front of him, I'm afraid his plan would not be able to continue. I saw that he suddenly flew up and raised his hands slightly. The next moment, the countless iron sheets around the statue of the goddess all gathered towards the sky. Apparently he was going to get serious. Levi's frowned upon seeing this. If there was too much commotion here, it might arouse the idea of Manhattan Island. It looks like Magneto can't go on. Thinking of this, his mind moved, and he saw that the iron sheets of the goddess statue that were pulled out by Magneto actually flew back one after another. How is that possible? You can even control the magnetic field. Magneto looked shocked. He didn't expect Levi's to be able to manipulate magnetism and grab things under his magnetism. How can that be? Nothing is impossible. Let's end this time with Magneto. Levi's said a direct message to Magneto, making him unable to control his body. It turned out to be mind control. Magneto was even more shocked when he realized that his body was incapacitated. Knowing that Professor X was in a coma, he didn't wear the telepathy shield. However, this is not important. The important thing is that Levi's has shown 3 super abilities from just now, and each ability is very powerful. That is to say, you're actually a level 5 mutant. Magneto was both shocked and envious. Although his mutant brotherhood was huge, there were only a few people who could use it. He had always known that the piano beside Professor X was a grade 5 mutant, but he didn't expect Professor X to find a grade 5 mutant again. Why didn't such good luck fall on him? Level 5 mutant, maybe. Levi's shrugged and didn't refute anything. In his opinion, the 5th level mutant was just his starting point. Weiss, maybe we can have a good talk. Knowing that Levi's was a 5th level mutant, Magneto finally calmed down. He knew that it was impossible to use force. That's right, you and the professor should have had a good talk long ago. No, I mean have a good talk with you. Magneto was clearly aiming for him, not Professor X. Oh, Levi's was a little surprised that Magneto wanted to talk to him. Weiss. At this time, Storm and Polaris finally came to the torch of the goddess. You are finally here, don't worry, the matter has been resolved. Levi's gestured with an okay gesture. It's great that you are all right. Storm finally breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that the little naughty behind him was all right. Magneto. At this time, Polaris looked at Magneto with complicated eyes, and she had always held a grudge towards the father who had abandoned her since childhood. But after seeing the old man in front of him, he couldn't hate it. Are you Lorna? Magneto was also taken aback when he saw Polaris. Humph, looks like you remember my name. Polaris snorted coldly. Levi's on the side looked at Magneto, whose expression was constantly changing, and it was only very interesting. You joined the X-Men. The calm Magneto looked at Polaris with a complicated expression. I didn't expect that I, who was abandoned by you since I was a child, would choose to join X-Men. Polaris smiled sarcastically. Magneto fell silent after hearing her words. When she chose to send the just-voiced Polaris to her aunt's house, she had already thought about the consequences. No wonder Polaris hated him so much now. Please like and subscribe.